Now I took the mandible off so we can view this easier for the video. If we look right here, this bone is the palatine process. It's part of the maxilla. And then we can see a line here. This is the median palatine suture. And then posterior to it is the palatine bone, this area. And if we look up here, this is the incisive fossa. Back here, this little point is the pharyngeal tubercle. If we look at the back of the skull, where you see this bony portion extending off of the occipital bone, this is the EOP, or external occipital protuberance. There it is on the skull. That little point off the posterior aspect of the skull. For the sake of having to hold the video camera with one hand and point with the other, we're going to look at these upside down. But here is that EOP, and the lines that you see extending off of the EOP here and here, this is the superior nuchal line, and then down here, a lower one towards the base of the skull, this is the inferior nuchal line. Here is the foramen magnum. Here are the occipital condyles. Here is the jugular foramen. Just anterior to it is the carotid canal, the foramen lacerum, foramen ovale, foramen spinosum, and stylomastoid foramen, right between the mastoid process and the styloid process. If we flip it over this way, we can see here is the foramen lacerum, and then here's one that we can't view on the underside of the skull. This is the foramen rotundum, and then again, here's the foramen ovale. Here is the foramen spinosum. You can also see where on the sides of the foramen magnum, there's a foramen that is hard to view on the camera here. But if you look just underneath the occipital condyles, here and here, that is the hypoglossal canal. Inside of here's the orbit. Up here is the supraorbital margin. Right here is the supraorbital foramen. If we look inside of the orbit, right here, this is the superior orbital fissure. And down here is the inferior orbital fissure. And below the orbit, down here and here, is the infraorbital foramen. And the optic canal, there's one here and one here.